Morning guys, it's Saturday the 7th of November 2020. So we just up at the allotment, been up here a little while now. Just assembled a cage for the lemon and orange tree. The nights are definitely getting colder now. I was rather thinking I was going to be a bit too late and that I was going to lose the apple tree and the lemon tree, but thankfully we didn't. So I'm just going to spin the camera around now and show you what we've done. All right, see you in a minute. Right guys, so here we are. We're in the greenhouse now. That's the trees that we planted midweek there. And we've got the the cherry and the pear tree here and the little off-cut apple tree. Few boxes here. So what I've done is I ordered myself one of these frames, and as you can see we've got it put together. I actually ended up putting it together twice because the instructions in there, the way it looked was longer but a bit lower, and it wasn't until I came to fit the original cover, which comes here, which is a plastic cover, so you can put a plastic cover on as well. That was the original, but I purchased this cover because it said it was exactly the right size for this frame, and that's a fleece cover, complete with zip fronts. So it was relatively cheap, and it makes a nice, effective, quick, very tidy way of protecting the plants. So I'm just going to open up the zips on them, and then I'll let you have a little look, guys. Alright, so there we go. There's the door unzipped and opened up. And I brought up one of the other thermometers yesterday, prior to actually putting this in here. And we sat it in front of the plants. This is one of those that records the highest and lowest temperatures. And you can probably see from here, the top is this one here is the temperature now. That's the highest it's been, maximum 18.5, and last night it was down to 4.1 in here. So as long as it doesn't get any lower than that, although as I said they can go down to -5, but as long as they're sticking around that sort of temperature above freezing, then they should fare quite fine in here. So in here we've got the nectarine and the two nectarines and the peach, and the lemon and the orange. And this just offers that. So we've got the greenhouse double skinned all the way in this back corner here. And then we've got this frame over the top as well. We've got the insulating on the ground with the bubble wrap, and then the wood chip, then more plastic to keep the bottom of the pots at a relative temperature. And now we've got this along with the fleecing. Obviously through the day it can be lifted up, and overnight it can be zipped back down again and hopefully protect those plants. So I just thought I'd give you a quick look around in here, guys. You always think something's bigger than it really is. You soon get cramped out. These 3 pots in here and those, mainly the 3 pots in here, they can go outside shortly. As I say, all of those are winter hardy. They can go out. They were literally put in here just while they get settled down, just for a week or two. Now the irony of this, if you look at that, we can see since I've opened that up, that's gone up to, that one there, that's now gone up to 11.6 degrees and still climbing, and 88% moisture. But if we look at the one that I put on the windowsill yesterday, that's obviously been sitting in the sun, and the sun is shining on it, you can see that one's up to 25% moisture, they're down to 25% moisture, and up to 26.5 degrees at that window. That's where the sun's still shining. So massive differences. When you're in the sun, obviously you're getting the better. Now earlier morning, that sun would have been coming up here. We're getting late winter now, so it normally comes up here and over. But as winter comes, the sun moves around here, and it only sort of starts to rise at about this point, giving you the sun here, and then moves up and over. And it's only 11:30 now, and it's already over the garage, is shielding the sun in here. But yeah, it's winter at the end of the day, guys. Excuse me. The fact that we're getting any sunshine at all is a good thing, especially after the weather we've had recently, with all the rain and gale force winds and everything. It makes a nice change. So you'll see the garden, the trees are all settled in. I had a thought about this as well, guys, and what I didn't realise at the time is I've actually put all this wood chip up here on these trees, and I've just been having a think. As you can see, this is quite deep down to the actual root, and I'm thinking I should really be moving this wood chip away from the trunk, because as you can see how wet that trunk is from there down, that could produce trunk rot, and I'm thinking I should really be having that like that, keeping that mulch back from there. So yes, we might still get an odd weed or pop up in there, but they should be easy to deal with. But I'm just going to crack on and do the rest of these, because it's a thought that just occurred to me that we could end up with stem rot if I don't get this done now. So I'll get this cracked on with, guys, and I'll catch you later. Right, there we go, guys, that's it done. Couple of minute jobs, and basically just cleared the wood chip away from around each of the trunks back down to the membrane, and that is actually just shadow you can see there. From the black line down, it's actually a shadow. I know it looks like a bit of plastic wrapped around it, but it's not. And then likewise with this one, same thing. It looks like we've got a bit of plastic wrapped around it, but we haven't. It's the shadow from this board here. And again with that just makes me feel a little bit better that I've actually pulled them away now, and hopefully we haven't done any damage. The trees don't look any worse than they did when we clipped them back, so yeah. That mulch should still retain the weeds and one thing and another. We never did get this bed finished off. I just never really got round to doing it, because trying to do all sorts of other little things like I end up making work for myself. I ordered the lemon and lime tree because it was a mad notion, and then I suddenly thought, oh well, my greenhouse isn't finished, now I've got to get that cracking anyway. And I just create work for myself and force myself into these situations. This bed here is still as it was when we done it, but I can see now little bits of grass or weeds or whatever it is starting to come through on this and germinate. So I'm thinking we better get some cardboard over this pretty soon, guys, and get it put to bed. So that's another job to do. Right, I'll catch you later, guys. This is a few of the cocks in their aviary, getting through the molt now nicely, as you can see. Looking really nice. Just trying to find a slot where I can get through the wire and get a focus. There we go. You can see the birds looking really smart now. So this is some of the race birds in the Cordwell van rates that didn't sell. Took everything off the website now. Waiting until these are fully through the molt and re-advertise them again at the true worth. I'm not inundated at the moment, and they can certainly wait a little longer and put them back on the website. I'm certainly in no rush to sell them now. Catch you later, guys. Hi guys, so yeah, I'm over in the shed and I'm just having a cup of coffee. Pulled out the generator and boiled the kettle. Generator's behaving itself, not leaking or anything, thanks to Tony. It boils much quicker as well, and it doesn't matter how cold the weather is, it'll boil. When it's really cold, you'll have seen on some of the other YouTube videos where how I've had to warm the gas cans on the top of the kettle and keep swapping them over just to get the kettle boiled, and that could take 5, 6, 7 minutes sometimes, depending on just how cold it is. But at least with the generator, pull it out, spark it up, boom, and kettle's boiled in 2 minutes. So yeah, first cup this morning. Or should I say it's even afternoon. It's 1:30 now. So what I've been doing is I've just been pottering around and feeding and watering the pigeons. I put a bath in the aviaries for the birds so they could all have a bath. I took the 2 young Frill Stencils off the nest. One is a Frill Stencil and it looks like it's going to be a full Frill Stencil check. It's starting to get little bronzy, pinky white spotting up further up the shield now as well. So I've took them off the nest and I've put them in that little section on their own that's empty. And I've brought one of the other young birds from earlier in the year, a female. Oh, don't put a cock in with young birds. So I brought a young hen out of there, one of the little Qualman opal hens. I brought that out and I've put that in there, just the one bird. Because it's on its own and it doesn't know any of the others, it won't bully them because it's on its own itself, and it's as insecure as the 2 youngsters. Put some feed down, topped up the drinker, and we'll leave them to their own device, or dip the head in the water and we'll leave them to their own devices now. Food there constantly in front of them, and over the next couple of days I'll start feeding and then they'll go on to their 1 ounce a day. So yeah, got that done. Filled up all the baths, as I said, in the aviaries and give them all a bath. Good jobbed. Potted over in the greenhouse earlier on. I meant to say as well, I bought myself a grapevine as well, a 2-year-old grapevine in a pot, and the pomegranate tree as well. And they've arrived. I'm just going to take them over and put them in the greenhouse as well. The pomegranate actually had pomegranates on, and but this time of year all the leaves fall off and any fruit and whatever. And they're only little tiny wee things about that big, but it shows it's producing. And it'll need potted on in order to produce anything of any size. But it is only a dwarf pomegranate. They only produce them about that size anyways. Just little small ones. Just a novelty more than anything. So we'll put that in a bigger pot as well next year. And they can actually stay outside as well. They don't even need protection in the greenhouse. But we'll put it in there for now until we get round to getting it potted on and moved out. And find a location for it and what size pot. It won't be a 30-litre pot. Although I haven't said that. I might just put it in a 30-litre pot and be done with, and then it's there. But we'll see how that goes, guys. So you've got a pomegranate tree and a grapevine for inside the either the greenhouse or the polytunnel. I haven't made my mind up yet. Either way, it's in a pot. It's dormant, or it's pretty much dormant. There's a bit of foliage on it, but it's not its best. I've got plenty of time to make my mind up where I'm going to put it yet. I also ordered 2 blueberry bushes, or rather one was a pink berry, a pink lemonade or something they call it, I think, and the other one's a blueberry bush. But unlike the blackcurrant and the goosecock bushes that I had, I'm not going to plant these straight into the ground. They're going to be kept in pots and contained and maintained to a controllable level, guys. So because of all the wood chip area that I still have around there, I can dot pots around as well, and hopefully have the best of both worlds by having still fruit grown on there that's movable, so we can tidy, we can weed and all the rest of it, and will look really nice in spring and summer. So that's my intentions. Failed my exam, unfortunately. I needed to get 700 and I think I got 550 there, so it was a valiant effort, but unfortunately the old grey matter stuff just doesn't stick in there as well as it used to anymore now, guys. But we failed it anyways, and hey, oh, it is what it is. I think I get a chance to do a resit, so to do some more studying and see if I can make it stick. Because although it was an online exam, you have to have your video camera on and show them right around the room. You can't have any notes. You can't even, so if you want to make yourself a few notes, you can't have any notes. You can't have a book. You can't have pens, food, drink, anything at all. You've got to basically show them right around the room. And you have your camera on the whole time. No one's allowed to enter the room. You can't have your phone or anything like that within arm's reach. No tablets, laptops, anything else like that. So it's a very strict exam, even though you're at home, and the camera and they're listening to everything that's going on as well. So you're just basically sitting in silence and do the exam. And I thought I got most of this in my head. And of course, it's the old adage, if they hit you with the ones that you didn't think was important while you were doing your studying, or bit you think that's probably irrelevant. It was those ones that actually caught me out. So there. Failed the exam. We'll have to do a resit sometime, guys. So I'm just having this cup of coffee, and then I'm going to take the grapevine over to the greenhouse and the pomegranate, put those in there. Zip the fleece cage back up again, and I'll give you a quick look at the two youngsters I took off the nest earlier. As I said, they're back down on the second rounds of eggs, and I've just put a bath in with them so they get some moisture on the eggs. Hopefully they shouldn't be too far off chipping, I don't think. Sometime midweek I think they might be out, or next weekend at the latest. So we've put the bath in so they can get themselves dampened down and go and add a bit of moisture to those eggs. And see if it helps them to chip out in any way, shape or form. So I'm just going to have this coffee, guys. I'll take the stuff over to the greenhouse. I'll give you a quick look at the youngsters, and then that's going to be it, guys. I'll see you later. Right, guys, give you a quick look around again now. So back in the greenhouse, and we'll give you a little look at these grapevine. So this is a red grape variety. It's just a table grape, but apparently they're pretty nice, and not too many seeds in them, and it's just a novelty, guys. And then we have the pomegranate tree. As you can see, it's dropping all its leaves now, but you can see it has got some very, very tiny pomegranates on. They're a queer shape, but that's because of the how stunted this is and dwarfed in a pot. But you can see that's a mature, you can see the bark on this little tree. It's quite a mature plant, but it's being kept retained at that size. Now they will grow up to a good bushy plant, and they are grown in the UK. I had a look around on some of the YouTube videos after I bought it, I might add, not before, and they are hardy in the UK. They don't like any other plant, they don't like to have the roots sodden wet. So I think because of the amount of rain we get down here, guys, even with this bark chip down which dried up the area, this bed over here where I put the cow manure, it's absolutely sopping wet. It really is. See if I can give you a quick look. It's obviously better than it was because it's got a membrane down with holes knocked into it so they can drain. I know we've had non-stop rain for days on end, but it's wetter than I would like it to be, put it that way, guys. So putting things in pots is probably giving them the best possible chance, plus it keeps them small and maintained. So what we've done is you notice we've got the big the trees out of there now. So this one is the Victoria plum, a nice shapely tree. They've really shaped this one. No, this isn't the Victoria plum. This is the apple tree, a real nice shape, and they've really got some good shape about this. Lots of branches and really nice shape. Yeah. And what I've done, in case these labels get ripped off in the gales, I've just basically put a plastic stake. It's a metal spike with a plastic handle, and I've just wrote on basically what it is. Should this get ripped off, cut off, or otherwise, then at least I know what the what breed that apple tree is. So we've put the apple tree there for now. These probably aren't the final resting places. We'll see how it goes, guys. And then we've put the little pear tree down here. So then we've then got the pear tree here next to this bed. So it's tucked back. I mean, that's sort of wasted space there anyway. So we've got one. We could probably get another one in here. And if we need to get into the compost bins, we can just move it out of the way while we do that. So we might put another... You'll note I've put a bit of tin sheet under them as well, guys. And the reason for that, I showed you in an earlier video, you can see the holes, the drain holes in the pots. And as I said, because we're getting really, really heavy rains around here now, I want that water to drain out of these pots correctly. And you know we've got the big stones and cobbles in the bottom of here. So no matter how much rain comes on here, because it's on a nice firm metal surface, with ridges as well I might add, that will help that pot to drain and run away. So that's the reasoning behind that, guys. And these pots will probably always be kept on a piece of tin sheet or something like that. Sitting them on the ground, eventually the worms will come up and they will mat the bottom of that pot up if you do that. And that will then block the drain holes that we want to get the water out of. So that's the reason that I've done this, guys, just to make sure that these drain. Of course, in summer it will mean I'll need to water more and more regular, but I'll probably put a bottle feeder in there or something that's just like a drip feeder. We'll think of something before that comes around, guys. But, we've got a bit of time to think of how we're going to do that. And even if it does mean coming over with watering can, hose pipe, whatever, we'll probably eventually get these barrels scrubbed out, and they are all full at the moment. But I'm thinking about cutting the tops off them now, guys, because they had some iodine in there in the first place, which is what they use for putting on cows' udders, which seals the teat after they've been milked. And although it's not really toxic, I think I'll prefer to give them a good swill out and then get them set back up again whilst winter, on a couple of fine days like this. Obviously it means getting the little pump out again, coming up here with 5 or 6 batteries in order to do that. But even if we do one at a time, cut it off, give it a good swill out, and then get them all reset again, guys. It would be worthwhile doing it and then getting them ready for winter. So what we'll do is we'll cut the tops off them, but we'll invert the lids that we cut off, because you'll see they've got a lip on. If we cut under the lip will overstretch the barrels, and then we'll put a brick on top to hold them in place or whatever, breeze block or something. And then last but not least, we've got the Victoria plum down here. Now next year I'm also thinking of, because this has been non-productive for 4 years, when they cut this back this year, and as they start to bud up next year, these trees, I'm going to take a graft from this one, which is a mature tree and should produce next year, Victoria plum. I'm going to take a branch or two from here, and I'm going to graft it onto that one, and hopefully we'll make that tree productive. So we'll take a couple of branches off this as it grows, We're not going to be able to get much. We'll only put 2 short ones on. A couple of grafts this year, and then maybe another couple next year. I might even try and put a peach on that as well. Graft a peach onto there and a nectarine, and see if we can't make that tree productive. Now I do know that they might get peach leaf curl and what have you if I do that, but it's a bit of an experiment. The tree's doing nothing anyways. Yes, it's got a good established rootstock, and you can graft peach anything with a stone in it, so they can all be grafted onto the same tree. So for a bit of fun, I'm going to put a nectarine and a peach and the Victoria plum, because I don't even know what breed of plum that is. And likewise with the pear, we'll cut that back in such a way, and it's never produced pears either, and neither has this one. And we're going to take this pear here. We'll take a cut and a chew off this one, and a cut and a chew off the other dwarf pear that I've got in there, and we'll graft them onto the pears as well, because they're really established stocks but haven't produced any fruit. It could be totally different next year now they've all been manured and one thing and another, guys. So, but we might as well have a couple of different varieties if the grafting's take. So I've ordered some grafting tape and one thing and another as well. That's another intention of mine. These will be getting pruned back shortly. I've got some nice sharp secateurs coming and one thing and another. And I might even tidy these up a little bit more before winter really sets in. So that's just a quick look around, guys, of what's going on. Well, as I say, we pulled the roots out of here, and yeah, pulled a couple of carrots out yesterday out of this bed. I said I didn't know what they were doing, but they're not the best. But then again, they're an inedible commodity, so yeah, they should be nice and sweet. Right, that's it for now, guys. Catch you later. Bye. Right, guys, I've pulled a few carrots up for tea. They've still got quite a bit of growing to do, but they should be nice and sweet. So we've took a small harvest of carrots. I'm just going to quickly give you a look at the young birds we took off the nest earlier, and then we'll get you for a final catch up in the shed. Right, guys, these are the 2 youngsters we've taken off the nest, and as you can see clearly, this one is definitely a Frill Stencil, and it looks like it's starting to get that pinky and white colour in right through through its back and further up the shield. So by the time that gets through the moult, I have a feeling that one is going to be a white check, Frill Stencil check. I've also opened the wings, and it does have Frill Stenciling right through the flights as well, which will get greater as it gets through the mould. And as you can see, the second youngster appears to just be a black at this point. However, it is possible that when it goes through the moult, it will get some white in it, or bronze. Either way, even if it doesn't, it's carrying a double dose of the Frill Stencil gene, and will be a very valuable pigeon in the breeding program of the Frill Stencil. So we have them a drinker in here, and as much corn as they want. And then we brought the little Qualm and Opal hen in here, and she's obviously up on the perches. These can actually fly. One of them yesterday was on the floor and it flew back up to the nest again this morning. They're actually being left a bit too long to take off the nest. As I say, I like to take them off a bit sooner, but because of what they are, I thought I would give them that little bit longer, guys. And hopefully that's paid off. So in the next few days they should be eating fine, and then they'll start to molt already because the days are getting shorter. Just a quick update, guys. Right, I'm going to start up the generator again and have myself a final cup of coffee, and we'll give you the final catch up. See you later, guys. Right, guys, so a couple of minutes later, boiled kettle, nice cup of coffee. I'm not going to babble on. I've had a nice, slow, easy-going productive day. Nothing major. I haven't pushed myself, but I've got over in the greenhouse. As I said, we got that little shelter stroke mini greenhouse put over the plants, and the fleece put on. We got that sorted. Got all the baths in the aviaries for the pigeons so they could have a bath, all fed and watered. All the water's topped up again. And we've got those 3 trees pulled out of the greenhouse now and put outside to give myself some more room back in there. Got the grapevine in there and the little pomegranate tree. I probably will put on that pomegranate tree into a 30-litre pot. But there's no rush. Like I say, it's going into dormancy now, so we can potter through the winter months and decide when I want to do that. We'll get that potted up and put outside as well over the next few weeks. Pull myself a few carrots to take home. They're not the biggest or best, but it's something else out of the garden. It's just another little something out of the garden, guys. And we'll take them down. Tomorrow, depending on how I feel and what the weather's like, I might just come up and have another potter again tomorrow. Take the baths back out of the aviaries so they don't get dirty and start drinking out of those. And I might pop in some onions and garlic in the polytunnel. And I might just do it down one side because I don't want to fill it all up and them start growing really nice and still be there but not quite ready to pull, and then find out I'm running out of time because I need to get my tomatoes in for next year, etc, etc, etc. So if we just do one side, we know we had more than enough tomatoes this year and cucumbers. So if we keep one side free for at least 2 or 3 tomato plants, maybe even only 2, and a couple of cucumbers, with perhaps lettuces dotted in and around, or radish, something like that. Or we might even stick onion in between. I don't know yet. I was just going to see how it goes next year. I'm going to try something different, see how it goes. So if I just do one bed with onion and garlic, then at least I won't need, if they aren't ready by the time I come to put the tomatoes in, etc. next year, or they aren't up to the size I want them, then I won't need to at least disturb them. I can plant in the other side, and then I can always decide if I haven't got enough tomatoes to put some more in the side when the garlic and the onions come out. Or just put some green leafy vegetables in there, salady type things. I don't know, you guys. One thing's for sure, I don't need to plant as much as I did this year, and even though some things were a disaster, especially over in the garden, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do over there, guys. I don't know if I'm going to end up with infestations every single year, or whether it's just been a bad year for me this year. And one thing for certain is the compost was pathetic. And unless I get some cow manure in there and get that dug in and get some sort of feed into that ground, then there's probably going to continue in that vein. What I can't understand though is the cabbages in particular and the broccoli and whatever, were all really, really strong and healthy plants. And normally when they're strong and healthy, they don't get infected. It's weakly plants that weaken, poor growth plants that usually get attacked by insects, but they were extremely healthy and vigorous, and yet they still got attacked. Now, whether there was something in the compost as eggs that hatched out and just thought instant food and didn't move on, I really don't know, guys. But what I am fearing now is that if they've got back into the soil and laid their eggs in there again, and they're going to get the same thing again next year. I really don't know. I suppose if we don't try, we'll never know, guys. What I am hoping to do before next year is to get the actual big, like a fruit cage built around all of the beds. Now that can be a good thing or it could be a bad one. Because 2 things could possibly happen. If there is insects in the soil, I could end up when they hatch containing them in that area. However, the top is going to be just, it's going to be bigger mesh. So it should keep butterflies out and hopefully moths, but still let the rain through and the air and the sun and all the rest of it. But conversely, if we get insects inside, then I don't know. We may need to, for a year or two, use insecticides, although I don't want to, guys. We did this year, and as I say, but in fairness, I didn't really keep on top of it. My health wasn't brilliant this year, so hopefully next year everything's going to be a lot better as well. And I'll have a bit more motivation, and I'm likely to keep on top of it next year, so we'll just see how it goes. Right, that's it for today, guys. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Sorry if it's a bit on the long side. If you aren't already subscribed to my channel, please do hit the subscribe button and then hit the little bell icon on the right. And that'll alert you every time I put up a new video. For now, guys, that basically is it. Stay safe, be practical, and keep yourselves out of harm's way, especially during this COVID spike again. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys.